For some analysis, let's speak to Aurel Braun. He's a professor of international relations and political science at the University of Toronto. Professor Braun, it's always good speaking with you. What can you make of these results?
When we look at it, it's rather unusual in Canadian politics. This was not really a contest. This was a coronation. When you look at how badly opponents did, and that opponent to Mr. Carney included Mr. Freeland, who had been Deputy Prime Minister, who had been Minister of Finance, who had a vast amount of experience, then we can see that the candidate preferred by Mr. Trudeau was able to win with such an overwhelming number, as you said, 86%. And there's also a certain degree of irony, because Mr. Trudeau had tried to create a post-national state. He did not believe very much in nationalism. Mr. Carney is running on a platform where he is emphasizing Canadian nationalism, especially vis-a-vis the United States. So we are in for quite a ride.
I see this, but could you please help our international audiences better understand what's at play now? Because as Carney goes to elections, his opponent is also running on a more right-wing, more conservative set of ideas. So how do you expect this to play out?
In politics, in pluralistic societies, it's difficult to predict. Just, several weeks ago, if we looked at opinion polls, the Liberal Party was almost down and out. And then Mr. Trump came to power. And the kind of statements that Mr. Trump made, the threat of tariffs, the kind of tariffs that he has already imposed, created such a powerful reaction in Canada that in many ways, Mr. Trump, who said he would have favored the opposition, the Conservative Party, gave new life to the Liberal Party. And this Liberal Party now seems re-energized, so it becomes very unpredictable what will happen in the next election. Clearly, there had been an enormous amount of dissatisfaction in Canada with the policies of Mr. Trudeau. This dissatisfaction reached such a level that a sitting Prime Minister was forced to resign. And he did not do that entirely voluntarily. He was pushed. He did not just walk off. And now, the preferred candidate, Mr. Trudeau, is leading a party that has a chance at winning an election, or perhaps at least a minority government. We don't know. It will depend when they call an election. And the party that had been quite far to the left now is moving to the center. Mr. Carney is emphasizing his credentials as a businessman. He is saying that he knows how to run a country. He's a former governor of the Bank of Canada and the governor of the Bank of England. But he is not a seasoned politician. He does not have a seat in Parliament. He will have to find a seat in Parliament. And so consequently, there are so many unpredictable factors. But certainly today, the Liberal Party is in a kind of position, a favorable position, one might say, that they could not have imagined even 2 months ago.
Aurel, you're bringing up a very interesting point, because you're describing this election as a Trump-centric election. Is the Canadian voter thinking beyond Trump? Are there other issues at play?
This is a very important question, because Mr. Trump will not be in power for more than 4 years. The relationship between Canada and the United States will continue. It has been a long relationship. We have always talked about the longest undefended border in the world. Before Mr. Trump came to power, we were the closest possible of allies. 80% of our trade is with the United States. And now we are trying to look at a new paradigm. And that paradigm shift is very difficult to achieve. You cannot just switch allies and trade patterns overnight. Mm-hmm. So we will have to see what kind of deals we need to reach with the Trump administration, what kind of concessions or tariffs we need to make. Clearly, it is not just about borders, but also about imports. Mr. Trump and his administration wants to make sure that imports from third parties do not come to Canada into the United States. So it's going to be a very intricate, both economic and political choreography. But you are right. Mr. Trump, in a sense, has been the elephant in the room. He dramatically, through his statements and actions, changed the political landscape within Canada.
Professor Aurel Braun, thank you for your insights.